trade deadline in the books. Some people are comparing what the Seahawks did versus what the 49ers did. Now, these are two different players, and I get, hey, you get Chase Young is the guy that's, came with the hype out of Ohio State, had a great rookie year, and has since then had a really hard time staying healthy. He's in the final year of his deal, much like Leonard Williams. He's an edge rusher. Williams is an interior guy that the Seahawks needed. So you're really addressing two different needs there. And there's some people, if you're not on social media, but people feeling that, hey, the Seahawks gave up a second and a fifth to get a 30-year-old or a 29-year-old Leonard Williams, and the 49ers gave up a third-round pick for a 24-year-old Chase Young.
Yeah.
So feeling like the Seahawks got the raw end of the deal. They got the older guy. They paid more. The 49ers get the younger guy who's got a lot of upside, but he has not been healthy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and you compare it to Leonard Williams, who's missed a handful of games. I mean, 5 maybe 4 or 5 games. So, yeah, I mean, I think the other thing too. So after I was driving home, I want to give credit to Moyer for bringing this up about the compensatory pick, because we didn't really talk about that yesterday, and I've kind of checked a few different sources. Brady Henderson, for sure. So for the 5th round pick, based on if they cannot re-sign, so he's a free agent at the end of the year. Leonard Williams is big cat, and so if they cannot re-sign him based on how he plays in 2024, they could possibly receive a compensatory pick, based on how much money he makes, how well he plays, things like that. And I don't know how they judge, how well there's probably some production standards and things like that. But if that's the case, that could end up wiping out that 5th round pick for 2025. So really, you just gave a 2nd rounder for 2024 to get him here. And then the other thing that's glaring is that, the Giants paid the vast majority of his contract.
Have we gotten a number as to what they? I keep hearing that, but I haven't seen a number anywhere.
Well, I talked to Brady Henderson, and he said somewhere in the neighborhood of like league minimum, basically. So but
what the Seahawks are paying him.
Yeah, exactly. So because I think he was owed like
10.
I think he was making like $1 million a game, something like that. So I think they paid the vast majority of that. But those numbers aren't official. But that's kind of what our guy Brady indicated. Somewhere, wasn't saying wasn't like, hey, this is a hard number. This is exactly what I got. But something like that. And then just checking with a couple of different sources that the whole compensatory pick is definitely could come into play. It definitely could come into play. So, yeah, so you got that element of it as well. I always say that, I mean, if you're a guy that gets injured a lot, you don't tend to get healthier. And I know that's bad news for guys like Jamal Adams, but yeah, it's that does kind of worry me about Jamal, but that's sort of what you got with Chase Young.
Yeah, to me, you're looking at two. Yeah, they're both on the defensive line. They're both defensive players, certainly. But the Seahawks weren't looking for pass rush out of Leonard Williams. It's not what he does. He had that 1 year where he popped for 11.5 sacks, and I have no idea what was happening that year or how he was being used, but he hasn't come close to that since. It's just not. He's the interior guy. He's, and maybe it's a result of the rookie not playing to the level they thought he would at this point, so they felt the need to go get him. But I like Leonard Williams. I think if you went and got Chase Young, you're addressing a different part of your defense. Well, so they address the part where they have a need. Chase Young would be a nice luxury piece to have, in my opinion. I don't think you need him as much as you need Leonard Williams.
Well, and also he's really an edge rusher on a 4-3 is what Chase Young is. So, I mean, we don't really have that. I mean, we have linebackers out there. So, the other thing about Williams is I've seen him line up outside the tackle, so I mean he can play all over the place. The other thing that's unique about him, he's 6'5" and 300 pounds, and he's long. And so this guy, he really is. He's really powerful. I had a couple. We'll get football 101 up. I think today. My guy Taylor Jacobs, we worked on that today, and there's a couple of plays where he's holding a guard or fighting him off with one hand and grabbing a running back with the other. Same thing with the half a sack that he got. So, and I'm sorry, this is a game against the San Francisco 49ers. It was in week 3. So we looked at a couple of plays there. So, yeah, I mean, he's just a different kind of player than Chase Young, but he gives you more versatility. And, I'm going to trust Schneider on this one. That he did the same thing with Quandre Diggs for like a 5th rounder, and I think he came in and immediately got a couple of interceptions, and so yeah, we'll see. I think that really bolsters, that really takes care of a need. But there's nobody like that on the Seahawks defensive line. There's nobody that's 6'5", 300. That's the size of an offensive tackle. And the guy can run. He can make plays. He's really strong, really stout. And then you throw in that you're not paying that much money. And if you can't re-sign him, you're probably going to get that 5th rounder or something equivalent to that back in 2025.
You're giving up a 2nd rounder.
Yeah, so basically you've given up a 2nd rounder and you're paying a guy pretty much the league minimum for a veteran.